y'all. Welcome to our show, man. 1 + 1 =
2.
Relationships is all about
Addition and subtraction.
I'm one of your hosts, Trey Verdejo.
And I'm Gina Verdejo.
You know it's true, I wanna go with you. I'll be right there, straight holding you. Whatever it takes to get to know you.
What it is, it's your boy, Trey Verdejo.
It's your girl, Gina Verdejo.
And this is 1 + 1 =
2.
Relationship is all about
Addition and subtraction.
episode
17.
Knowledge
It feels like it's
God.
been forever.
Woo, knowledge God. Yeah. That's on us. We apologize. Sorry for the wait.
Skipped a month.
Yeah, we are here.
We're back.
Check us out. You know what I mean? Get your beard products.
We just had a nice event over in Bowie Town Center. I like that event.
Yeah.
It was really nice. 2-day event. So look out. They have another one coming up later this year, but I don't remember the month. But it was in Bowie. It's in October.
Yeah, in October. Yeah.
Like the vibe, the people, beautiful event. Babe, we had a couple. The wife came on Saturday. She bought some stuff for her husband. She reached out and texted and said, he loved it. I'm going to come back. And we want to get more. And they came back Sunday.
Yeah.
And bought more and for a friend and somebody else. So really appreciate Bowie. They were really good.
Nah, they show love.
Yep.
So I appreciate that. What else we got going on?
We have some updates and some changes. We're gonna do some things, so you guys just stay tuned, hang in there with us. We're still here. We ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. So this is gonna pretty much wrap up season 1.
Right.
And then we'll jump into season 2.
Change the format a little bit. We're gonna
Sometime in the
update some
summer.
things. Yeah, sometime during the summer.
So shoot some ideas our way if y'all like to see some things, but we definitely gonna have a whole different setup, new look, everything. Stay tuned. 1 + 1 =
It's still 2.
You know it.
Always.
Alright, so I know this month is important for you, babe. What we jumping off with, man?
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and that has been key in our community and for me. I kind of advocate for it all the time, but I'm glad to say that more people are kind of taking it a little more serious. So your mental health is key. If your mental not right, ain't nothing gonna be right. So that's important.
I definitely take a lot more serious, as you'll see some of the topics we'll talk about, and how much it is we relate to in regards to dealing with mental health.
Right. Because it affects so much.
Man.
It does. It affects your mental, includes emotional, psychological, and social well-being. That's a lot, right? All of that is tied into your mental health. So
let me, I don't want to put you on the spot. You know how we do. We share as much as we can, but is there a particular scenario that you would like to share or talk about as far as some type of mental health situation, how you overcame it, or somebody you know that went through something, some advice you gave them, or?
for me, real quick, my first encounter with dealing with mental was when I was forced to deal with anger issues. I had to go to anger management, and I didn't realize at the time that I had a lot of things from early childhood, and it caused me to act out. So that was something that was kind of like, wow. And as we unfolded all these things and talked about it, it just opened up. It was like a whole new day, a whole new me, a whole new everything. So that was kind of like my first encounter with it. And then I share this often with my car accident. And I was struggling for a long time. And when I finally got with the right therapist, and we kind of unfolded what was going on, and that's how I came into realizing that I had PTSD. And again, when we talk about PTSD, we often think about military. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah.
And it can be triggered by different things, encounters in your life. And my car accident was, I was hit by an 18-wheeler. And the 18-wheeler crashed and smashed me into a truck. So I was pinned in the car, and I had to be cut out of the car. And for some odd reason, I couldn't shake the accident. I would see it happening over and over and over and over. And I struggled for a long time before I got help. And then I was embarrassed to share that I was struggling. So now I'm good. Like, I worked through it. I got past it. And it's part of your mental health. And I realize now how important that is for me. So again, with the anger part, something that Trey can shake off, and he does not trip, y'all. He be so like, it's cool, no big deal. I cannot shake it as easy as he can. I'm like at 10 and he's at 3, and he will never reach 10, and I have to come down 10, 9, 8, but it takes me a moment. But now I acknowledge that, and I work at not reacting. I just don't want it. I've lost all desire to drive. And I know it's because of my accident. I'm not afraid to do it, but I don't want to do it. I'm over it, but it's okay. It's okay. So those are my 2, that help me recover, help me be back to me, help me get back on track. So what about with you? Because I know when we talked about it and I first started bringing it up, oh my God, you would have thought I said the man had to go to hell. Because I was like, babe, maybe you could talk about outside of me, outside of somebody who knows you. He wasn't with it, y'all. He was like, nope, that's not what I do. And I had to wait on it because I felt like I was pushing. And then when he finally expressed to me why he felt that way, it made perfect sense.
I definitely was one of those who were against it. Mm-hmm. And was a big advocate of, nah, don't talk to somebody. You can handle it on your own. And I realized that was the kind of environment I had to adapt to early. Mm-hmm. And I was forcing other people into kind of believing that. Or my struggles that I'm proud of, because it made me who I am. We say, oh, I don't want to change anything, because I'd rather change some things. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of go back a little bit on that statement only because, my struggles that some people can appreciate I went through and survived, I went through some, and I went through a lot of mental trauma, and I was hiding it. All the way back to when I was in high school and my mother had AIDS. Back in 1990, we're talking back in 1992, 93, where people were scared to touch you if you had AIDS. So when my mom was in the hospital for like 8-9 months before she passed, and people used to ask me what she had, I used to just say cancer.
Right.
Because I was
That's
scared
stigma.
and embarrassed to say she had AIDS. So from that moment, I seen shit before that, but just thinking about it, I just been holding that in, saying it's okay, I could do it, don't worry about it. That's gonna make me stronger. But I didn't have to go through all that shit I went through to get this strong. You know what I mean? So, I think it's important to speak to somebody. It don't have to be in the form of a counselor, but just acknowledging that you have things to work on, and you could do it different ways. It could be group. It could be just meeting up with a particular group of strangers. Something outside of your norm, but you still speaking to other people, so you don't feel like you just sitting in this room speaking to this one person you don't care about, or you think don't care about you. You could be out in a group setting with other people. It's a lot of different ways, but you just want to speak. Don't hold it in, because once you get it out, you realize you already won half the battle. You acknowledge it. Now it's time to get to it.
Right. I agree. It's hard when you have a circle and they kind of co-sign. It's coming from a place of love. But I found myself surrounded by people who okayed my ill behavior. And it was hard to come out of that because I didn't want them to see me in a different light. So certain disorders, like we don't know the difference to see between a mood disorder or being bipolar, because there are different types of mental health. So I never understood that, and I felt like women get pushed into being moody a lot. But we have a lot of hormones. We got a lot of shit going on with us that directly affects your attitude, but they automatically say, oh, maybe that's a mood disorder. When, if you get diagnosed as being bipolar, what I've learned was bipolar is something that can be treated. You can take medication and be controlled. Now, I don't know the effects or side effects of being bipolar, but I know somebody personally who it has given that person a new life, being on medication, who was diagnosed as being bipolar. But for years, we just thought she was just, acting out.
So when we, talk about mood disorders, we refer to depression and bipolar. And depression, even though we joke around a lot with the word bipolar, we sometimes could identify because at times it could be obvious. Some people could hide it, but it's obvious because it's somebody acting out. So
right.
It's something that you could identify a lot of times. Depression is not.
But see, depression shows up in so many different ways.
Yeah, you could be calm, relaxed, and depressed. You could still be going about your day, helping everybody, smiling, but you're depressed. So depression is a disorder that, I think affects us a lot. And
a lot.
A lot of time is, because I went through this, I never wanted to say I was depressed or I was feeling sad. One, I didn't want people to think I was weak. You know what I mean? That was a big part of me holding it in. I was like, I don't think of people, I can't. I'm always the one leading the group. I don't tell people I need help. So, but that depression, man, is like, it's killing us. It's like dead man walking.
For sure. So y'all know we do research. And for anybody who has never seen these before, I went to sleep and woke up and couldn't see shit, y'all. And I had to get my glasses just to read. Let me do this real quick. Because I wanted to show the difference and do some research on the difference between depression and bipolar. So depression is a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed mood or loss of interest in activities, causing significant impairment in your daily living. Okay? Bipolar is also a mental illness that causes unusual shifts in a person's mood, energy, activity levels, and concentration. These shifts can make it difficult to carry out a daily task. And then, like you said, people who suffer with depression, it looks different. Depression, you can function, and then sometimes you shut down and you don't even want to get out of bed. And it took, like you, postpartum depression when you have babies. Sometimes mothers go through postpartum. I didn't have it with the first one. I suffered with the second one, and then I did it again with the third one. But nobody recognized something's off with her. She's not okay. And I was sitting there sinking like I'm depressed, and I don't know why. I couldn't get out of, it's like a funk. Do you know anybody that suffer with any mental?
Yeah. So I'm not gonna say any names.
I know that finger ain't over here.
But I'm wiping my nose. I have to go to my nose.
Shit.
Nah, bipolar, yeah, I've seen and dealt with people. It's not. I definitely dealt with people that was bipolar. But the depression part is the one that, for me, because I think now with COVID, a lot of isolation, a lot of,
life change. People lost people.
It's just, it's the recovery part from COVID is going to be more deadlier than the actual COVID part.
I think we still in it. I think we still recovering.
You know what I mean? It's just like, the aftermath, all these killings and all of this and all of that. You compare pre and post COVID. Right. You're going to see post COVID, the numbers are higher. But a lot of it is depression, a lot of it is the mental health. A lot of it is people not realizing or coming to that realization that they need the help or that they have a problem, because it sounds like a problem. So don't nobody want to be like, what you mean I got a problem? You crazy? You got a problem. And we're not gonna be able to communicate to them that way. So it's trying to find, your jump rope opportunity, when to jump in and catch that flow. And it's kind of hard. That's the disconnect with us now and the younger generation. It's just we ain't been able to find the right spot to jump in and connect with them. So
even for my youngest, some life events we were really looking forward to and we talked about forever. She wasn't able to do a junior prom. She didn't have a senior prom. She didn't have a formal graduation. It was just so much tied into it. And then it was turning into, what we gonna do? How do we do this? How do we turn it around? So that's why I said it affects everybody in a different way. Why should you seek therapy or give it a try? Like, is it levels to it, or should you say, hey, I did this, now this is the last resort? Or do you just do it and say, fuck it, I'm just gonna go for it?
I ain't even gonna lie, the reason why I did it was because I fucked up,
So you had an event that drove you to therapy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, it was so many other opportunities that I had that I could have, but I never did. But once I did, and kind of like accepted it, it just made me look at things in a different perspective. Going back to how, you always on 10, I'm on 3, and part of that is that, being able to, kind of master my feelings a little bit and know when to go, when not to go. And a lot of that was, being open and being receptive to therapy. Now, I say that to say this, I encourage it 100%. I have a best friend that's going through something, that went through something. I didn't know, what else to say, and I was just like, look, bro, you may want to talk to somebody. That was the first time I ever did that. You know what I mean? That was like growth in my end, because this is like my dog. So it's something that we gotta understand, that we're not alone. There's somebody out there going through the same thing you're going through, or that's able to help you. So if you can't get it from your significant other, that's not a bad thing either. It's just you gotta find where you can get it so you can get better, and then work on whatever you need to work on. But do I encourage it? Hell yeah. Do I wish I would have jumped on it a lot sooner? Hell yeah. But again, I'm one of those individuals, I'm going back to how I grew up. I'm gonna go through it and come out through it. You know what I mean, Paul? So it's like, I ain't scared of, what's gonna happen next. Whatever's thrown in front of me, I'm gonna find a way. But I gotta understand I'm not alone. And when you understand that, you become more powerful. So if you think you're strong, you think you this giant person, when you understand, you're not alone. Like, once I understood and really was submissive back to my wife, that makes us more powerful.
I think that's harder for me. Not harder, but it's hard for me to accept not being alone and having the support and knowing that I don't have to carry the burden, and we are really a team. And it's not words, it's more of the action, because I'm not big on words, because I've been disappointed and let down a lot. So people say shit to me all the time, and it really is like rolls off my back. I really don't pay it a lot until you show me. And the consistency to be better has made me want to be like, okay. But I'm going to be honest, it took me a while to trust the process and say, okay. And that's not from being married. That's from being, when you grow up an only child and you go through shit and you go through a lot of changes and things, and you had to format that, you don't know really how to trust. You don't really know how to let people in. And that's been my biggest problem. But I do think, and I have said this repeatedly, before you guys get married, go to marriage counseling. It will save you some time and heartache and maybe disagreements and all that. So I think it's important. I swear by it. I think it can save you ultimately from making mistakes that are sitting right in front of you. And it's okay to make a mistake. Because I think that's hard when you make a mistake and you beating yourself up. Your partner don't know what the fuck to do. It's like, I don't know. I'm just here. I'm going to be the whipping dog. So you got to go through that. Like where we are as a society, right? What part of the blame should mental health get for how the world is? Like we watch the news, you guys, and I have to take days off because the news really affects me. Even if it's not in my city, I'm like, what is going on? From the young kids to the middle age to the adults to we were just talking about this. School was supposed to always be a safe zone. Church, a place of worship. Whatever religion it is, safe zone. The mall, the grocery store. You don't know where to go without somebody acting out. And I don't want to get into the routine where you just say, oh, they mentally unstable. See, now they get off. Because what if they not?
Yeah.
So do you think we giving too much leeway to saying it's mental, or it really has become an epidemic with mental health coming to the forefront?
Yeah. And
they just coming out?
I just think, we got to put more resources into these schools as early as middle school, where we are provided some type of counseling, soft counseling or whatever, but, I want to say mandatory, but some type of already communication early, because, a lot of these shootings are, 14, 13, you see that kid, middle school in a bus, 14-year-old, 15-year-old ran in the school bus with the gun.
With the gun.
Because the joint jammed on them, because they don't know what the hell they doing, but they got guns. Mother's Day, young girl in D.C., 8 or 9 years old, family coming home from dinner, got caught up in a crossfire, and she got shot and killed.
Yep.
Over 50 shots rang off. Like 50 shots going off in the neighborhood. Like,
what's going on?
Yeah, so guns definitely, but the mental, mental part of it is definitely a need, something that we gotta address and help our young ones.
So with all of that going on in the world, I can honestly say my anxiety levels have gone up. And it started before with COVID, because I have underlying health conditions. So when we started tippy-toeing back out, Trey went before me. And then he kind of pulled me out, because I was like, nope, I don't want to go. I don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to do anything. And I was last to stop wearing my mask. And I still have it in my purse, because my anxiety, I feel anxious, and I feel those palpitations, and I feel like anxiety levels increase with the pandemic. But I know I'm not the only one, because the more I talk about it with other people that tell me I've never had anxiety and now I suffer with it. Now I take medication for anxiety, dealing with this. So let me tell you a little bit about anxiety, right? Gotta put my glasses on.
Go ahead, baby, go ahead.
Many people worry about things such as health, money, or family problems. Now, if y'all ain't been to the grocery store and y'all haven't seen the price of eggs, it's $1,000 for a dozen of eggs. Okay? Let's just keep it 100. But anxiety disorders involve more than temporary worry or fear. For people with anxiety, the anxiety does not go away and can get worse over time. So anxiety is one of those mental things that gets managed. It doesn't disappear. Okay? The symptoms can interfere with daily activities such as jobs, schoolwork, and relationships. So think about it. If you're dealing with anxiety, you got all these things going on. Every little thing is going to bother you, and then your partner and them get on your nerves. Like everything gets on your nerves because you're anxious all the time.
So I must get on your nerves a lot.
All the time.
It's definitely a major disorder that you should talk to somebody, speak up, and not I'm no expert. To me, when people say speak up, really the first step is acknowledging that you need to speak up. You know what I mean? So make that big.
And that's
step.
hard. That's a big step.
If you don't see that or you don't understand that, whatever help you get, it's not going to help you because you haven't acknowledged the initial step that I need speak.
Help.
Well, not even to say I need help. I need to speak to somebody. Let's start there, and then you can realize what kind of help you need. But just understand you need to speak to somebody. That way you could get better. Ain't nothing wrong with getting better, man. That's how you get better. Find a mentor, find a sponsor, find somebody who you can lean on, speak with, to get you out that circle.
So tying into those, we also have what can be considered as a personality disorder. In personality disorders, we joke, we laugh because everybody got that one uncle or that one auntie in your family who you just can't wait to come to the cookout or the family reunion because something ain't quite right with them. Or you got that uncle in the back room, Uncle Pete. And Uncle Pete got a personality disorder.
We laugh about it, but it's really a problem.
Real.
I don't laugh at shit like that.
I did not realize how, because see, we used to keep certain things under wraps. We kept it a secret. If we knew we had a special person, we just didn't want nobody else to know about it. You know what I'm saying? So it was always like, shh, don't talk. It's, one of those. But that's the stigma. So a personality disorder is a mental illness that severely impacts a person's ability to manage their emotions. So when your aunt acting out and she doing all this stuff because y'all running around making too much noise, we think it's funny as kids, but as adults, you gotta recognize that's a personality disorder, and it can lead to more serious actions. Okay. Also, the loss of emotional control can increase impulsivity, affect how a person feels about themselves. That's the part that's not funny. Y'all, we sit here and we laugh, we joke, we kiki, we make fun of them, and that can directly affect how they feel, which also can lead to things like suicide. And that's just a horrible thing. If you've ever had to witness a family, or if within your family somebody committed suicide, it doesn't just affect that person, it tears a family apart. Okay, so that's one of your personality disorders. It's psychotic disorder, it's post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's a slew of others. So keep in mind, PTSD is real.
It's a lot of disorders out there. I know we didn't name all of them here for you guys, but try to talk about a few that we know a lot of people could relate to, whether personally in your circle or outside of your circle in your community, or you see it every day. But we wanted to take this episode to definitely carry the message on, or put the word out there, that your mental health is important. Just like you want to be happy, your heart should be happy. That's how your brain is happy,
It's a muscle. You gotta take care of it.
Take care of it. It gotta be repetitious, It's not just a one thing, or I'm gonna do it here and there. You gotta do it consistently.
Right.
Consistently. But take it, a step at a time. Whatever that step is. Some people got different speeds on their steps. You don't gotta worry about how fast somebody else is moving, but just make sure you step it.
One thing I've learned and realized that is so important is taking time for me. And sometimes you feel selfish when you have kids and a spouse and this, that. But remember, if I'm not right, nothing's right.
Yeah.
So I gotta step back and learning to say no. It's hard. I'm still learning to say no. I have to set boundaries and say no and be okay with it. And this is going to go outside of May. We don't want this to say, oh, May is mental health, and then next month we right back to the same old behaviors. No, this is a daily thing. Find outlets, volunteer, write in a book, keep a journal, go try meditation. All these things are so important that gets overlooked. We kind of downplay it, but it's key. And you got to remember to do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Put yourself first sometimes.
And, to piggyback on that, just to talk about resources, because a lot of us may not know where to go, where to start, what to do. And the resources are there in front of you. So one of them, especially if you work at a corporate job, whatever, I'm not going to say all corporate jobs, I'm not sure, but most of these major, medium corporate industries, they offer resources where you can speak to somebody. They're either going to cover the first 4 or 6 sessions. We took advantage of that. And then, or, they may pay some towards it. So first thing you want to do, if you can't find it on your job website, is call the HR department.
EAP.
Call whatever number it is, and then just ask and say, hey, how do I find about this resources? Second one really is if you have a cell phone, all right, or you have access to internet, whether you go to the library, whatever it is to use internet, use your Google, use your Bings, and just type in free counseling. I was going to write some down, but there were so many that came up. I was like, let me just tell people. All you got to do is just type in.
Yep.
It's going to ask you want to, your location. You can either say yeah or nay, or put in your zip code. But so many websites and links came up for free counseling. Or go to your local religious building or community center, and just you just gotta say, hey, I need help.
Right.
Speak up.
It's the first step.
Speak up.
Remember, everybody's going to do something, so let's just be better at it. Let's just be kind to each other, because you never know. You never know. But that's our tidbit on the mental health awareness. We hope you guys got something from it, walk away with it, enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe.
You know what I mean?
Click the link.
Yeah. And stay tuned for season 2. Stay tuned, alright? You already know it's your boy Trey Verdejo.
It's your girl Gina Verdejo.
And this is 1 + 1 =
2.
Relationship is all about
addition and subtraction.
And remember, you are not alone.
That's right.